Lucky Boys Podcast.
You started getting into it with some people that started sexualizing you and saying some crazy stuff.
We're like some incel ass 4chan comments on our video. I was like, who are these people? I was literally just like, holy crap, who are these people? There was one guy who was like, I would never support Asian women in the media. I will never do it. They're like all against me and like yada yada, just like straight misogyny. I was just like, holy crap, who is this guy? And like, should we like find him in like some basement somewhere? Like, oh man.
Incels.
Incels. Oh boy.
So why do they feel that way?
Well, what was interesting was like they were saying, oh, like Asian women have it so much better than Asian men. Like Asian women are seen like as like highly desirable in the society. And I'm just like, there's a difference between like highly desirable and fetishized.
Mm-hmm.
Like fetishization is still incredibly damaging. Like, and you just objectify the person to the point where you don't even see them as like a full like three-dimensional person. It's literally just like a caricature of what like your perceptions of like how they should be is projected onto them, right? So I just, you know, when there were a lot of comments being like, oh, like you had it hard, but like we had it harder. It's like, it's not a competition, number one. And we all know that like racism is a huge issue in this country, but just because like Asian women are seen as like, you know, sexually desirable and like to a certain degree, it's not a compliment and it's not a good thing because of the way that it's like approached a lot of the time.
You know what the crazy thing about when the shooting happened is like they were talking about like, oh, it's they're sex workers as it's one of those happy ending spots. I mean, is that the most important thing to report on right now?
So they try.
Like,
so here's the thing.
As if that like makes it okay for him to like have done that.
Right away, they try to dehumanize us. Mm-hmm. So they look for it to be okay, to make the death okay at the hands of that person. That's what that was about. Oh, they were sex workers.
Trying to empathize with the killer and not the victims.
Yeah. Poor killer. These Asian women
forced them to do it.
And by the way, they were sex workers, so it's okay.
Just the fact that like he was so tortured himself, like incredibly religious to the point where it was like toxic, like his relationship with religion at least. And he obviously had like a, you know, issue with sex and whatnot, and he just projected that onto these women, blamed them for it, and in order to solve his own issues, killed them, you know. And I just cannot think of anything more selfish, more entitled, more racist, more misogynistic than that act in and of itself. And the fact that people do like sympathize with him and say that, oh, he had a bad day, you know.
That's crazy.
It's really like hard to even talk about, you know.
None of us have the answers, right?
It's always yeah.
But
I can do what
and I think that's
do.
important to say too, you know. It's just like none of us have the answers, like
Hey,
we just have to like go forward, like you know, like telling, you know, our stories. And
usually when we have you here, we talk about happy stuff.
Well,
happy stuff. How did we get here?
Well, the things we were supposed to talk about.
Oh, thanks, Norm, for asking that question. You got us here.
Well, remember, we were supposed to talk about this stuff because he was just like, oh, because he read my story. I don't know if you did, but basically I wrote this huge post on Instagram and it was all about like how...
You wrote something very profound and I connected with it, so...
And a lot of people actually messaged me, like, and a lot of people from my old hometown messaged me and were just like, we like realized like how it must have been for you, and we can't even imagine like how hard it was.
Wait, what happened in your story?
Oh, I was just saying how like, just because people thought that like racism against Asians wasn't a thing, and I was just like, okay, let me like tell my story about like how I was hypersexualized all throughout my life, like with like people who I was dating, like it was always like one or the other, like not attractive at all because I was Asian, or like you were only attracted to me because of the idea of like this like Sakura blossom, like geisha fairy girl,
yellow fever,
you know, yellow
because,
fever.
yeah.
Like the amount of times like my boyfriend's friends would be like, oh, like you like her because she's like
so
you must have yellow fever.
Let's talk about it. Your boyfriend's white.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, my boyfriend's white, and like his friends will still be like
make insensitive comments like that.
Yeah. They'll be like, oh yeah, your Asian girlfriend, like ha ha ha, like and it's just like a big joke. And I've been on so many dates where like it's just like you can have a conversation within like probably 10 minutes you can figure out that this guy is like not here for the right reasons. You know what I mean? Like they just see you as like this
sex doll,
essentially,
to fulfill their Asian girl fantasy.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's just like at that rate,
that's a real
like,
thing, man.
No, yeah, of course,
100%. Because just like it feels like you're just like this this quota that they're like trying to fill almost, and then you're not actually like end game. Like end game material is going to be like the white girl.